Wait a minute. You know, hey, yeah, you're good. I just want to adjust a little high, a little near. There we go. I got the frying pan. I got you. Got the mic. Yeah. If you click on there and just throw a comment, just say hi. Welcome everybody to Dinner and a Boat Live. We will be throwing food in pans here in momentarily. Okay, I got a comment. Yeah, I see it. I'm touching it. And it went. I don't know where it went. Huh. Okay, well, I guess. Can you, did you put a comment? Because it disappeared. Oh. There it is. Okay. Hello. Go to channel report. Where is, no, I hit the wrong thing. I want to make you a moderator. Oh, you already are. Oh, I didn't know that once you did it one time, you were a moderator for life. Turn up the volume a little bit and see if this microphone is working. Oh, yeah, I'm saying stuff. It should come right through. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah? How loud enough? Yeah, it's good. Okay. Okay, well, we get some shrimp going here in this pan here. There we go. There's some shrimp. Tonight we are making coconut shrimp. And tonight I am wearing a wireless mic. So hopefully everything's coming through nice and clear. So, hey, you know what we could use? We could use a little bit of music. Mood music. Here we go. Done. I hear click. I hear click. I hear click. I see it. I touch it. I play it. And there it is. Mood music. There we go. Well, let's get this pan going. There we go. We got the double burner going under here. Ooh, the olive oil's getting low. We're ready for the next can of that. That's okay. That's enough. That's what I meant. Oh, throw a little bit of that oil in there. So while those shrimp are going, I'm going to chop up some veggies here. They're going to go in this. We got an onion here that I'm slicing. And it's been a long week and with the boats. Lots of frustration this week. Trying to get material. The shipping problems or logistic problems are real. I'm just trying to get 15 yards of fabric, 300 miles, and you wouldn't think that'd be that hard. But 14 days in, we can't get it done with this technology today. Amazing. So I'm gonna chop up my vegetables here to go in this pan with this oil and the shrimp here. That way when it's shrimp are ready to go in here, I ain't sitting over here cutting. Got some sweet pepper going in here. I got a jalapeno in there to give it a little spice. More sweet pepper here. It's funny how they look so much different, the orange and the red, but they don't taste any different. Okay, we got that ready to go. Katie's going to get out her notebook tonight, and we're going to continue with where we left off with stories from last week. Oh, and we better get this rice going, otherwise we're not going to have any rice. So we got the pressure cooker going tonight. Instapot here, making some magic. So we'll throw the rice in the old Instapot. And it made wonderful noises. And we're just gonna do 15 minutes here on the Instapot. Okay, there that is. It should start by itself, hopefully. And there it goes. The Instapot is on. Get these shrimp going here as this big monster pan heats up. Oh, she's got the book out. So last week we were talking about her boat, and we were talking about the company and the origins of the company. This pan, we'll jump over here to the food for a minute. I'm just waiting for the shrimp here. As soon as the shrimps are done here, I'm gonna throw them in the pan, and then we'll start putting this together. Until then, while we're waiting for the shrimp, I'm gonna pass off the mic to Katie, and she's gonna continue somewhat where we left off.
Somewhat.
There you are, your microphone.
Well, we covered pretty much all there was to cover on Ray McCarty, like in general. I think we left off, said we were gonna discuss Archie Lang this week. And there isn't, I didn't find very much information on Archie Lang. So mostly I discovered he was in the Coast Guard, and I think that's where a lot of the design came from for as far as being a tough, dependable, reliable boat, being able to go out and get the job done. And so Archie Lang was the president of the company. And as far as I know, Ray McCarty walked away in 1950 and went down to Fort Myers, Florida, and started a car company, Hudson Motor Company, with Jim Reel. He did that for about 2 years, and then he came back up here to Ohio and resumed his position with Inland Seas as the sales manager and
Sure. I'm your sound technician. See?
It's all stuff. Yeah.
Say it down.
Check. It's good.
Can barely hear you.
Oh, can you hear me better now?
Probably.
Oh. All right. Ray McCarty stayed with Inland Seas till 1964. I'm gonna turn the music down just a little bit.
It's not loud in here at all.
All right. Ray McCarty stayed with Inland Seas till 1964 when Archie Lang bought out all of Ray McCarty's stock and became sole owner of the Inland Seas Boat Building Company. Then he built boats. He built the Inland Seas until I think 78, 70 something. Now I gotta look. After he stopped building boats, though, in the 70s, he bought Venetian Marine, which is just on the other side of the peninsula at Cedar Point, and he owned that until he passed.
What, are you afraid?
I love the sound of that sizzle. All right. So do we want to talk about where my boat has been?
So, now garlic. There's the garlic going in.
Buddy? All right.
Just think of me as cooking in the background and entertaining while she looks for what she's looking for.
How did I passed it?
A little bit of red pepper flake, never hurt nobody. I hope you all can hear me. I'm speaking up so the mic picks it up. Sounds like I'm screaming.
Does sound like you're screaming, sorry.
So paprika.
Oh wait, well I can't find where I have the year that he quit building boats. But when he was finished building the boats, he bought Venetian Marina, which was just on the other side of the Cedar Point Peninsula. So
Let me show everybody this picture. This picture here, go ahead, tell them where this
that's
picture.
not the good picture though. That's a copy. That picture came from the first owner's daughter, who was very kind enough to share with me a little bit about her father and buying the boat and this wonderful picture of it. Her father owned this boat for 2 years. They ordered it right from Inland Seas. And we don't know why he sold it 2 years later, but 2 years later it was up for sale, and a gentleman named Max Iskra bought it. And the first owner named the boat Hayek. And when Max Iskra bought it, he renamed it Iskra. And he used it at Gregory Boat till, as far as we know, 1971, which is when it became the property of the marina. And then it sat from 1971 till we purchased it in 2020. That looks really good, honey. It is literally distracting me.
That was mayo I had.
Yep. Hi. So I kind of wanted to, like, when I found the Inland Seas, I really liked the lines of the boat and the curves of this boat, and I thought it was really well designed. And I started kind of looking up boats of that era and in general. And the boat that was probably the most popular in steel manufacturing at that time. It was a company called Steelcraft. And they made, the owner of Steelcraft, Jack Churchward, made a boat in the 30s, built his first boat in the 30s. But didn't actually produce any and sell the first boat until 1945, the year the World War II ended. The smells are drawing in people from the other room.
Sounds delicious.
But I just wanted to touch on that when you look at boats from that era, from the 40s till just after the war, a lot of them have that military feel to them with the bow, with the bull nose and the sleek cabin roof. That's I wish I had a picture to show it. The sleek cabin roof is narrow, and usually they had a visor on the front across the windows, and they were just really cool old boats. And there were a lot of them that were designed that way, like Prigg Boat Company. There was Garwood. Garwood, I think in 1942 designed a cabin cruiser that was sleek with the bull nose and had the barrel rounded back, and had the military looking visors. They were just like stealthy looking and really cool. And this boat reminded me of that, but I didn't really get into looking up boats until I purchased this one. We purchased this one. Honey, you're doing a good job. It smells amazing. It looks amazing. Oh, so,
Well, have you explained to them about the ties between inland seas and Steelcraft? How those two boats, if they look at them, they look the same.
well, I don't know that they look the same, but they have strong similarities. So I covered in our last live last Friday how Ray McCarty, worked as a sales manager for Steelcraft in 1946. I'm assuming probably in 1945 too. But in 1946, that was the year that he took that 26-foot Steelcraft from West Haven, Connecticut, and brought it through all the locks up and down to not Cincinnati, Sandusky, no, Cleveland. So that was the Jack Churchward sold his first Steelcraft in 1945, and Ray McCarty's The Hard Way trip with the Steelcraft in 46 was the first Steelcraft that he had in the waters, and they went right to West Haven and had them place the boat. It was brand new right off the line. They had them place it in the water at the company. And Jack Churchward, Mark Hall, and a couple other guys, it's in the article, the owner of the company, the person that helped design them, all said their bon voyages to Ray McCarty and his party before they left. And if I had to guess, based on my research, I would say Ray McCarty had a big hand in kind of the design of the inland seas. That smells so good. It's hard to talk about boats when he's cooking because it smells amazing. Alright, so Ray McCarty, though, they were dealers for Steelcraft for a long time because when they moved from their first location to 140th West Street in Ohio, they maintained in an article that they had room on the showroom floor for Owens and Chris Craft, which they were local dealers of. So, Well, and I think in 1942 or 40, just before the war, they were kind of really starting to get into building cabin cruisers of the 26, 30-foot range. And so I think a lot of them were coming out around the same time, so a lot of them had a lot of the same lines. But you can follow that through boats through the ages too, from decade to decade. As the new models come out, all the other companies kind of try and copy this or that, or whatever's really popular at the time. So I think he's almost done cooking because he disappeared. All right, anyway, so I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. I know I'm not very organized in the storytelling, but there's kind of a lot. They're all kind of tied together. I mean, you really got to look for it to see it sometimes, but if you do enough research and understand who the people are and who's in that field, a lot of the times they cross talk and they interact with each other, and ideas get rolled around the floor, and so a lot of the times the boats will come out having similarities.
Well, Brad and Danny are here.
Hi, Brad. Hi, Danny.
Hi, guys.
Not here. Say hi.
Where's mine? Looks better than spaghetti.
It's better than spaghetti. It's
What
much better than spaghetti.
did you say?
It's
Say hi to Brad and Danny.
Hello.
It smells better than spaghetti.
It does.
It does.
Are we buffering tonight?
I'm still in drink. Oh, yeah. So, as much as I would like to work on my boat every hour of the day, we have other projects that are taking up some time as too. And he mentioned earlier in the live feed, there's product problems where we can't get
Things we're waiting for.
it's right. Canvas. We're waiting for canvas. Honey, I can feel it. I feel like I'm inhaling it. It's getting stuck in my throat. All right. Just bumped the box.
What are you giving it to me for?
I had to cough and I didn't want to cough in the microphone.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you can see.
Give me
Good.
that damn book. So, that's right.
We just
I
need,
love to talk to them.
we just need a string of spaghetti right now.
The pressure cooker says 13 minutes. So we got 13 more minutes to go for rice. So, let's see if I can find anything in the wife's book here of interest. I'm sure I can. I don't know if you guys can hear the jazz with the wireless mic. We decided to try the wireless mic. We'll see. We'll watch the feedback later and see how things go. So, that's this Hardway story, which you've heard all about. So, her boat, and we're gonna, as we get into it, you'll see it's very industrial, very simple, as we've explained. And we've been looking at a lot of other stuff from that vintage, because besides doing her boat right now, we'd like to do another steel boat for fishing, because our other boat that we fished from for years, the Owens, the old wood boat, is not gonna make it. It's not looking good. If
Not for a lack of trying either.
yeah, it's kindling at this point, or gonna be. Not necessarily, because it may end up, if somebody sees it and wants it and whatever, we'd let it go. It'll come without any engines and no trailer. But the engines, you could probably find an old set of engines out of one of those old boats pretty easily. Actually, if anybody is interested, on Marketplace up in Cadillac, they were giving away an Owens, right? Wasn't it an Owens? Yeah, it was an Owens, giving it away to a good home, but it had no home or no trailer. It had no trailer, but
It
the
was
boat.
on a trailer.
Yeah, but it didn't come with a trailer. So, in our wonderful world this week, besides working on our normal boat stuff, we're trying to upholster that pontoon. And I didn't show you. This was the back side of the picture with the writing on it from the owner's daughter, and it says 1954. And 90 horsepower, 2 Norberg 90 horse motor.
But
Sleeps 7. It says it sleeps 7.
They're not 90 horsepower motors either. They're 110 horsepower motors.
Yeah,
Sleep 7.
that's what it said right in the back of the picture. Didn't you read?
Yeah, I
Sleep
did.
7. I don't know. That's my favorite picture. I think we got it up somewhere, but that one, the queen of the fleet there. Oh, here, I'll give this back to you. So let's talk about the food here for a little bit. You watch me throw together this coconut shrimp. I put a little oil in the pan, and I had the shrimp was about half cooked in the pot of water over there when I flipped them in here and finished cooking them in the pan here. And then I added, as you've seen, I added a little bit more oil to it. There's mayo in there. What else went in there? The mayo. Then I put all the seasonings, a little bit of crushed red pepper, a little paprika, a little Cajun seasoning went in there, some onions, some sweet peppers, and that just kind of, right now I just got it simmering to thicken up a little bit. I add a little water so it wouldn't thicken up too much here. You see me stir it once in a while here, and I'm just cooking it down, cooking a little bit of the moisture off of it here while the rice cooks. The rice got 9 more minutes to go in the pressure cooker, and that'll be done. So coconut shrimp, the easy way. Kind of easy, I guess. It's pretty good. Looks good, smells good. So please check your network connection. Oh, that's going though. Oh. Yeah. Oh, so this is a live chat going. Well, if I'm still going here.
Oh, it's delayed.
I know it is. No, that's okay. So yeah, we're waiting for canvas for pontoon seats, and then the pontoon boat can leave. And then we brought in a F-28 Trojan that's getting a cleaning, and new lights are going in it. We'll make a little video on everything that's going on with that. That old F-28 Trojan, that has been out of the water since probably about 2003. And the motors hadn't been fired up in well over 10 years. And so the other night we were out there, we're like, well, we know the gas is, 19 years old or 18 years old. You think it'll run on it. So we fired up, we took gas starting fluid, gave it a couple snorts, put some water into the pumps, threw a battery in, and by golly, that old Trojan with those small block Chryslers fired up on 18-year-old gas. But it must have been some good gas, obviously before ethanol. So we got it running. We'll do a video on that this week.
We're gonna do some urethane and on it too.
Well, not urethane. We're gonna
Clear.
put a little clear coat over the wood instead of urethane, because every time we put urethane on, the urethane just pops off a year later. And we've tried all the different kinds of spar urethane and outdoor urethane, and it's going to last forever urethane, and all those different urethanes that they last about
A year.
a year.
But then, so when we sanded down and I stained my boat superstructure, I still.
Hey, you're talking to them, and they can't hear a word you're saying. You don't have to clip it. You can just hold it.
Yeah.
Like a mic.
So a year ago, when we sanded and stained the wood superstructure on my steel boat, we clear coated it instead, and we put 2 coats on.
Hey, explain why we clear coated it. How many years on that one did we put urethane on?
Every single year. We've had the Owens for 11 years, and every single year it was scuff sanded and apply coated urethane, the whole top deck. So we decided we were going to try the clear coat, and it's been out there 2 winters now with the clear coat on it, and not one bit of it is peeling up at all. So the clear coat holds up just really good, and it actually even looks better than the urethane. I don't know, it's got a shine to it it's just different than urethane to me, but at any rate, so we're gonna clean up the Trojan and throw some clear coat on it, and like you said, get the engines.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
What, you're lonely?
I'm lonely. I'm so bad at this. I'm just.
You're only gonna get better. By
I know. I gotta do like what's his name? Do one live every single day for 90 days straight, till you get good at it, and then you get 2 years of experience in 90 days. No, so we got what? 5 boat projects right now.
They're never ending.
I'm sure you guys have heard us mention at one point the Pinion, so that's still getting worked on at the moment.
The Pinion is the one that we did the boat cover on last year, the first boat cover that I sewed. That's last year's project, and that's got to go together here. There'll be a couple videos coming as we put the floor in it and stuff like that. It's got to get the floor's got to go in it, and we got to put steering in it. We're switching the helm out. It was hydraulic. We're putting it back to cable like it was original. Exhaust gaskets. Somebody took the risers off, so we got to put the risers back on it. We got a little bit of work. Yep, we got to paint the bottom. Yeah, see why do I have the mic? But yeah, you can see the Pinion project. But, and then the free boat project, and it says free boat. It was given to us, and it supposedly ran maybe 10 years ago or something. And we went to fire it up, and it wouldn't roll over very fast. The cylinders all dried out, so we're gonna put a little oil in them. And went to remove the plugs last year, and there's a video of that. And yeah, snapped off spark plug right away. So that project's on the burner here. We'll be bringing a whole bunch of videos to the channel starting this week. Probably one every 2 days. They might not be very long ones, but there'll be lots of boat material coming. Yeah, the jet boats still got to go together. Yeah, there you go.
Tall valve covers. We're waiting to put the jet boat project together. We got to find some tall valve covers for an Oldsmobile 455.
Not we. That's her project.
But I got a little help from my friends.
You got a mouse
I gotta have a little mouse
pocket?
help from my friends. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know. Suppose we could talk about the Nordbergs a little bit.
Well, so on a more interesting note, and she can elaborate on this, But the whole thing with the steel boats, I mean, they never were that popular, as she mentioned. But we were talking the other night about it, and one of the things in those, right, if you look around and you see right after the World War II, you'll see Steelcraft, Inland Seas. Who else? Who else was there? There was quite a few that all of a sudden they came up and were doing steel boats.
Romer Company, who eventually Chris Craft bought out. There was also, well, I think. Oh,
I heard twice already.
I was gonna correct myself from earlier too when I was talking about Paul Prigg's. Is it Paul Prigg? Somebody Prigg's boats earlier that I was saying that it had a lot of the similar lines of Steelcraft. His was actually wood, and I think Gar Wood, his cabin cruisers were made out of wood too in 1942.
But back to after World War II, you seen all of a sudden these steel boats. There were steel boats before World War II. Oh, I hear beeping. The pressure cooker's done. We get to release the pressure.
You don't want that in
Yeah. No, it's not that. I don't want to cook the plant, so we'll move it out from under the plant. There we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. So, anyways,
Scott Craft also made steel boats.
after World War II, you see this big boom in steel boats. Well, the thing that changed kind of during World War II was the welding technology of welding hulls together and everything. And not only no shortage of welders after World War II to do the work. And so everything, not everything, but a lot of boats, steel boats that you see pre-World War II were the bigger boats, yachts, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 foot riveted construction. Then you go post-World War II and you see all these boats and they're all welded together. And it was after the war, well, there was welders and welding equipment and all that stuff became available.
And steel became available.
And steel became available again too, right? And all the servicemen coming home. And a lot of these companies did build boats during the war for the war effort. So in some cases, they seen the boats while they were overseas fighting the war. Oh, hey, Trevor's calling. Oh, you're back up. I'm going to talk to Trev.
Well, so that's where I think that's partly where Chris Craft really got their name for themselves, is they built a lot of boats for World War II. Your rice is almost done letting go.
Keep going. Oh, you're right. I'm getting every other word, Trev.
So we were talking about World War II boats.
Vietnam.
PT or PT boats. Yes, no, Vietnam was not World War II.
Yeah, I know.
That was in the 70s. But they made boats. They made boats for specific for Vietnam for in the river in the 70s too, which became very popular to some people.
Yes, very popular.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. And we have another caller calling in live.
and turn this into a call-in live stream. Call-in live stream. Did you go fishing today?
Yes, I did.
Are we gonna do Owen's 5-minute fishing story?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Well, come sit next to me on this side.
Started like this. My cousins came over, super happy. Went down, went to go fish.
Let's see.
Caught a rock
Let's see if you
bass.
can hear yourself.
I'm just upset that you're not responding to my comments, man. It's hurt my feelings.
I had it right in front of me. I
didn't see any comments. Yeah, just the one.
Anyways, cousins came over, went fishing, went out for about 30, 45 minutes. Started raining. Yeah.
And what did you do when it started raining?
Stuck there and hoped to catch something else.
Fishing in the rain.
Yeah. It's okay. Since the badger came in, up here in Ludington, since the badger came in around 6 o'clock, all the seaweed was moving back and forth, so the dogfish couldn't breathe. So they were going up and they breathed in the air. So you'd see them jump and hit the surface all the time. So you knew where they were. And yeah, it sucked not being able to fish all day. in the rain.
Would you have liked to have a boat when you were fishing today?
No.
Really? No boat today?
No, I like fishing on the land for dogfish. It's much funner. Funner.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we've established that no one doesn't want a boat for fishing dogfish.
Oh, there's.
Yeah.
Oh, what comment you got there? New one?
Dad, you want to know
Oh.
where his is?
It's right here.
That's right, Brad.
Oh,
And
come and get it. You know when food's done because miraculously the children show up. There you go. You need a scoop for the Abby's got it. Go
Hey,
ahead.
Mom gets hers first.
Oh no, that's okay. They all got.
When we had that 18
No. No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Shrimp.
No, that's okay.
the juice in
Oi, keep talking, Kate.
Well, we were talking about the war, and then we were talking about World War II, and then Owen said Vietnam. So we got a little distracted. We got a little confused as to which war was which here for a second.
I just want to throw you all off.
Okay, so we were talking about welding.
When we do Vietnam, that's a whole different boat story. That's 30-foot cabin cruiser boats with big diesels and jet drives, and that's going to be cool too when we talk about that.
Made for the rivers. Yeah, we covered that already. Kind of. So we were talking about welding and everybody coming home from the war and all the extra welders on hand. And I don't know how many steel boat companies there were, but there's at least a handful between the Inland Seas, Steelcraft, Scottcraft. But it wasn't very long. It wasn't very long after the war that because they were working on fiberglass boats during the war, and that war actually had, or the military actually had fiberglass boats made during the war. So there weren't very many companies that popped up that stayed in business because fiberglass really took off like in the 60s, and everybody was pushing for fiberglass boats. I need silverware.
I have a question. How come
What do you mean you need silverware? That's finger looking good.
everything has to do with craft and
But anyways, after World War II is when steel boats seen their heyday. I mean, that was it, probably through the 50s. The 1950s, they peaked, and there was more manufacturers that did a steel boat then than at any other point. And then you get into the fiberglass, and it all tapers off. And the steel boats kind of disappear from the scene again, and fiberglass takes over. And, a lot of people, look at fiberglass as the end-all be-all to boats. And it's good. I mean, anybody that's studied a little bit, wood rot, stuff like that, that's no fun at all. And so, you go to fiberglass and you don't have any wood rot, you don't have any wonderful world of corrosion.
I want to say something.
And, I'll put you back on here. But anyways, it does have its downsides. You learn new words that you never knew before. Delamination. And you would think that going forward, it would just get better and better. But as we've all seen on YouTube lately, with those sailboats, those big catamarans, from, oh God, what company is that, Owen? Anybody? Yeah, Laguna. Boy, do they have issues right now with their fiberglass. So you look around and you go, well, yeah, you have issues with steel, and it's its own set of issues with corrosion and fighting rust. But, at the end of the day, and I'm sure somebody would disagree with me, but I would rather deal with welding and cutting out steel and putting in new pieces of steel than cutting holes in fiberglass and doing fiberglass. That's my personal preference, but I like steel. And the neat thing about the steel boats from the day is you go back to, cut my head off, when you go back to the 1950s and the steel boats that they had and the horsepower that they had, they didn't have 300-400 horsepower gasoline engines. I mean, hell, they were still putting, in the early 50s, they were still putting straight 8s in them and straight flathead 6s, stuff like that, 150, 170 horsepower. And so you see a lot of boats with a hull design where they were shooting for 20 mile an hour was fast, 26 mile an hour was cruising on the boat. So kind of in the day that we're living in today, you kind of look at that and go, 25 mile an hour might not be too bad if you only got to put in one small engine that's easy on fuel.
You gotta remember though, when you're talking about speed,
Yeah.
not very long. You gotta remember though, when he talks about speed, is that 25 mile an hour was actually kind of slow in a boat because they went through the 20s and the 30s racing boats and having all those runabouts that would get 55, 60 mile an hour or faster. Right?
Oh yeah. But that wasn't the normal boat
For cabin cruisers, right.
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 That wasn't what people were buying.
Right.
No. Hand it here. Just back and forth. Hey, we're doing. I know. I need to get the other one going. But no. All being said, though, there's something to be said for, in this day and age, there's going to probably be something said looking forward to how economical a boat is. I think we've seen the end of the days of the big blocks and just pushing water and burning fuel. Hey, we're going to shove 2 big blocks in there and we're going to go out and we're going to burn 2-3 gallons of fuel per mile to go fishing. I think you're going to see that kind of wind down. Mercury is already offering economical diesels that burn half the fuel that the gasoline engines do. And you're going to see those become very popular in the future, especially as gasoline heads to $5 or more a gallon.
I know, that's insane.
It's getting pretty pricey. Where if you could take a nice boat, like the one we're looking for, like Steelcraft, a 26-foot Steelcraft. 26-foot Steelcraft back in the day, come brand new with like a flathead 6, doing like 120 horsepower, 130 horsepower. That boat would do 26, 27 mile an hour. Today, and it's a roomy boat. It's a big roomy boat. Today, you could do that with a 4-cylinder diesel cranking out 130 horse, which is nothing. I mean, they have 4-cylinder diesels that do 170 horse. So we're like running the fuel curve numbers on it. Can you imagine a boat that's 26 feet long, sleeps 2, You know, you drive from the cabin though, with hydraulic autopilot for fishing, that you go out and this boat at top speed, and I was running the numbers the other night, is going to run like 27 mile an hour and burn, was it 6 gallons an hour, 6 to 7 gallons an hour. Yeah, so your wide open cruise is like 3-4 miles to the gallon. Then you go down with one of these little diesels and you go down to Troll, and you are burning 0.2 gallons of fuel an hour. So you're talking trolling for 5 hours on 1 gallon of fuel. And my prediction is at some point, we'll see what happens over the next year or two, but somebody goes, hey, you know what people would like? Not something that burns 2 gallons of fuel every mile. I'm just, you know, you may see a resurgence back in the other direction. Because you could have a very economical boat. You could have a boat. It's weird how we come full circle to things. Oh yeah, you're right. I don't think the Series 50 Detroit's going to get that 0.2 gallons an hour. But it's funny how everything comes full circle. Because you go back to the Model T, which Henry Ford built, I can't remember, it was 18 million of them, or it was a lot of Model Ts. And you go to the Model T got 30 miles to the gallon.
Wow.
1910, 1915 Model T, whatever, right around 30 miles to the gallon. Then you go to the 60s, before the gas crisis in the 70s. And
They were fighting for speed.
yeah, well, they were making things go fast, right? And they did. They made things go real fast. But that being said, you had like a lot of you look at any late 60s car. I mean, if it got 15 miles to the gallon, it was doing something.
Volkswagen in the 60s wasn't the Volkswagen.
Well, I don't think we count Hitler's little cars there, Volkswagens. We can't. We're not talking about Beetles. That's yeah.
can't count foreign cars.
And hippies? No, we're not going to talk about hippies and Beetles.
How dare you?
We're going to talk about 455 Oldsmobiles and Pontiacs and freaking Buicks. I mean, the Buick Electra deucing a quarter there with the 455 and a Quadrajet 4-barrel, that in town got 7 miles to the gallon when the Model T got 30. And here we are, half a century or more, and the mileage just goes right in the toilet. And I think we're there with boats. I think we've seen that with boats. Because then you go into the 70s and the 80s and you see more economical designs of, cars that nobody liked, but I mean little cars, Chevettes, Escorts, Festivas, all that stuff. But I think you're going to see that in boats. I don't think you're going to see...
Everybody's going to look at them and nobody's going to like them because they're not aesthetically pleasing.
I hope that's not the case, that they build something so ugly that it looks like a Citation. The Citation. Everybody remember the Chevy Citation? No. I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see things, though, in the boating world go the other way. I think you're going to see people demand economy. And I see that electric boats are already starting to come out. And go electric, yay. Because I don't know about you, but my two favorite things to combine in the world are electricity and water.
Yeah.
And if you need a precursor of what that's going to be like, just get a 9-volt battery and stick on the end of your tongue. And that'll give you that preview.
Except for a lot stronger than the other one.
Right. Good stuff, ain't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Well, no, I think you see things go the other way. I think at some point you see hull designs where we go back to hull designs and really efficient engines for the time, you know.
Right.
Right. Well, I'm past this off, so your turn. You're up.
So I don't know, a lot of the stuff he touched on, excuse me.
Gotta make an Mom, you have to make this
Yeah.
song with
No, I already did. No. All right. I was gonna touch on something you said about the boats being economical
And then,
for the time. Yeah.
They were back in the 40s.
Right. Right. But
Boats didn't really become uneconomical until they started shoving 2 big blocks in them back in the 70s.
right when they were trying to make them go fast too. Right.
But I bet they couldn't get off on plane.
No,
Well-
they did get off on planes. Some of them did it a lot quicker.
Well, yeah.
Right.
One of the largest innovations in boats, though, throughout the years was the Chevrolet small block. And for any of you Ford or Dodge guys out there, I'm sorry, but you look back through the history of boats and boat companies, and when that Chevrolet small block came out back in the day, those things, just as fast as they could get them, they showed up in boats. And that was really, we want to talk about boats that could burn fuel. Chevy small blocks can burn fuel. And, you know, but I mean, they were like, that was the beginning of the horsepower race, and taking up until they started shoving them small blocks down in boats. I mean, you've seen a lot of big boats that went 18 knots or 20 mile an hour, you know, right in that range, with flathead 8s and 6s and stuff like that. And then along comes the small block, and they start pumping 2 small blocks down in there. And God, I had 58 Owens, and it had 2 283s. They were rated at, I think, 180 horse or just under 200 horse. And that boat weighed 5 ton. That was a 10,000 pound boat, 30-foot Owens, double plank wood, and 2 small blocks, two little 1958 283s would pull that boat up on plane, up out of the water. And that's a lot of boat. And not only a lot of boat, but a lot of weight on a narrow beam. At the water line, those are like 9 feet or 8.5. So they're kind of narrow because they look bigger at the top because the rub rail comes out, has that nice flare to it, and they look wide. But if you look at them from the back, you know, here's that wide rub rail, and then the hull comes down like this, and it's narrower. And so it's a much smaller footprint. I'll tell you what, right now, any of the late 50s, early 60s, 30-foot Owens, they throw a wake taller than this island behind them. Once they get up on plane and push up on top, it's a lot of water and a lot of weight. But that was the big game changer, because you didn't see those, all your, like your boat, the 54, it goes on plane, but it doesn't climb out like an Owens does, and it doesn't rise up way up out of the water like an Owens. It's a different kind of plane. It really is. Like, even you watch old movies, you really do see it is a very different kind of plane on those boats. I'm gonna plug this poor thing in. She's dying. You know, so when we're talking about all this and the motors and stuff, it had a lot to do with it. The Chevrolet V8 coming along and a light, powerful package. I mean, you got more horsepower per pound of engine weight. Like you were getting like double the horsepower for the amount that the engine weighed, which is really something to be said, That changed a lot of things in the design and what they were doing. I mean, if you just took, like we were looking at that 1946 Steelcraft. And if you took a 1946 Steelcraft and you took out the flathead 130 horsepower, the flathead 6, and you shoved in just a run-of-the-mill 60s, 220 horsepower, 225 horse, 327. I mean, that boat goes from 26 mile an hour to damn near 40 mile an hour. You know, so it was a game changer when the Chevrolet V8 came out, and I think you're going to see another game change here in the future with boats, especially, you know, sometimes progress comes out of the necessity to have something, and boat manufacturers are not going to do very well with fuel at $6 a gallon. Because it's got to be about 6 on the water, right?
It's always $1 more or $2 more or something on the water.
Right. We'll pass it back where the baton's like. Can I enjoy my drink?
All right, I'm gonna keep talking to you, asking you questions. Oh, so did we talk about something not that long ago where the car companies were not continuing their R&D for something?
Gasoline engines.
They just quit.
You got to say that. You got to repeat what I said. Yeah.
So they just they just stopped their research and development for gasoline engines. For which companies? All of them? Right, all of them. Because I couldn't remember if it was one or, right, so that's where I don't know, that's where I was like, when you were talking, I was kind of thinking to myself, well, if they quit the research and development, how are they going to make them more efficient? But unless they just go back to what was the most efficient at the time, I guess, that they encountered. But yeah, so unless they're thinking about just everything going electric.
Everything.
Right. Right.
Till the first person goes to plug in that boat and accidentally gets electrocuted. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, you plug in the boat anyways at the dock. You know?
Okay. You do. And then what happened literally 2 years ago with the high water up here on the Great Lakes? For anybody that doesn't live on the Great Lakes might not know about this, but the lake levels came up, got really high.
Yeah.
A lot of the old marinas with stationary docks that didn't float. The water came up, got on their docks, got on their electrical, and it took one person getting electrocuted.
Yeah, I remember.
And all of a sudden, marinas all over were shutting off the power. Because you can say what you want. When fear sets in, all it's going to take is one story of somebody plugging in their electric boat. And that's good. Nobody's going to want an electric boat. Right, that's over. You hear about those electric boats? They can kill you.
Bring back the gas engines. Well, thanks for the merry-go-round ride.
Right.
Oh gosh. I don't know. I'm good just to work on them and use them, but he's the guy that can keep all the engine stuff straight. But at any rate, it's good dinner. It was a good dinner. It's very good.
Brad, I think I can squeak you out just enough for a small plate if you get up here.
Yeah.
Well, what are you tackling next time you go out?
So I gotta get get my finger away from the mic. So I have the front window board from the cabin out of the boat, and I managed
Which boat?
out of my inland seas, and I have the porthole out, taken off of it because it's got wood casing on the top of it that needs to be sanded and stained and clear coated. The big front board that I took out also needs to be, I think we're gonna just replace it. So I need to cut a new board. We're just gonna replace that, or are you gonna try and glue it together? He was gonna talk, he was talking about maybe gluing it together, but I think we might just replace it because it's cracked from one end basically to the other end.
No shrimp for you.
Yeah, hurry up, Brad. Margie's looking eyeballing your dinner over here. So my boat, we are also waiting on fabric, miraculously, for my boat. We haven't ordered the fabric, but we're waiting to get the fabric to put on the roofs to keep everything from leaking. So right now it's tarped over. And nope, right now I'm just kind of working on sanding the little bit of wood for the porthole, and then I got to get the front wood back in with the windows, the front of the cabin back in. And between working on other boats, anytime I can find some time to get up there, just kind of taking little things apart, like the linoleum coming up off the floors, and there's a again, a nefarious
I told her no more ums. That's it. You're cut off. All right. Well, guys, thanks for coming along and enjoying us. Hopefully, the audio was a little better with the wireless mic there. It's been an hour, and Trev just got into town, so I got to run to the marina. And yeah. Oh, look, I don't know if he wants all you yahoos coming down there. So till next week, I don't know what we're making next week, but we'll make something. Y'all enjoy this.
Comments in this week. If you drop some comments in this week of your favorite dish, maybe we'll choose one of those and make that for next week's live show.
Okay. Y'all have a good night. Here, Owen, you can close this out.
So, have a great, wonderful night or morning.
Subscribe.
Yeah, you can't. Have a great, wonderful rest of the night or morning, and I really hope you smash that like button and subscribe, and never ever forget to comment, because like my mom said, we could use your meal.
No,